Hello and welcome. It is the 6th day of April 2019. My name is Derek. Today is a Saturday, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel, All Bets Trades and of the like, where that is within each's own risk and their own reward. Starting off within this Bitcoin chart, and I don't have my Fibonacci lines in, so let me put the uh, prices in. And as we continue to roll along and just stay above the 4,841 level, yesterday having an up day to the upper end of the previous day's range, and a lot of it just a pause, not much going on a session thus far. Price action for several hours has stayed within this 18. In fact, the last time it didn't touch it was this period on the 1600 timestamp, but and here we had a lot of support amongst this level, then just losing momentum, thus is heavily establishing short-term this resistance between 5,035 and 5,055. I can also see how this moving average is getting very, very tight. And that's part of a low volatile indecision, waiting for that next situation. Support also heavily established at about 49.76, and the 48.76 has just been really like all the, or 48.41, same thing though, has been a pretty magnificent level, as after having a big entailment on the 4,100, fast move to next key level, and has been finding a lot of support within it. Within the 18 average here on the 4 hour, spending a lot of time at the upper end and not so much at the lower end. Another the same situation of this band getting really tiny, or the opposite of fat. Thin, I guess, where the 18 average of lows is still rising as the price action has been nowhere near it for the last several periods. But the 18 average of highs is now flat, starting to barely decline. And at some point, it needs to be a big play from here. And to me, it's either you fall. Well, your next level of support is that multi-hit 4,800 level, and then breaking down below that, there's really not much room anywhere until its previous key support at 42. And getting above this level and taking out and holding above these highs can be an indication we'll be going to the next up move around 63. But as you see, it's starting to break out above it, just like there was a fast move here. That's usually how it's going to be. And in such, the fast move, of course, is to 6,341. And amongst the weekly chart, it was almost getting that way here as well, as we had a lot of strength at the 18 highs, and it was just leaving this low area. Not quite enough to make this 18 average get really thin and crunch, sort of like it was before it had this breakdown. And now with this big volatile up move, you see this, you're like, oh, that's not where it should be going to. It should be going up to where it came from in here, which is exactly why I think it's en route to this level. So therefore, will it go there? Well, if it does, it should be pretty continuous as we move forward to get there. Or maybe we come back, you get halfway to where you're supposed to go, you have a higher low pullback, and then back higher. Seems as if either one of those two ways is the method it's going to do it. That's the favorite. The underdog, I would think, is a failed breakdown. And in doing so, I'll look at this 18 average and this little previous resistance level in January. It would be about 30, mid 3,000s, 3,500, 3,600 if it even goes there. For if I see weakness anywhere at and below that level, that will indicate to me that it's a failed breakout. There is no signs yet of it pulling back, of course. And even if it does again, as long as I think it's just very important for it to hold that 4,000-ish or so area. But my best bet is it will continue to proceed higher because of how nicely it's been holding since its original gain. No big price corrections down. A lot of the buyers are still outweighing the sellers within the conditions. And let's move on next to Litecoin. And we can see a lot of this similar on the daily here against the US dollar, having a fantastic 2-day up move to the 100 level. And since then, it's been grinding its way on smaller volatility. On the single hour term time frame from that 100 push, it came down really hard. 100 down to 76, and then still hanging in there within the 18, a little bit below. But It obviously didn't resist the 18 in here. It hung in there, got a little bit above, and an opportunity to break out here, wasn't able to get above resistance. And the amount of times that 89 has been tested now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here we are on number 6. And we had this higher low in here, holding and staying above 87.79-ish area for the next few hours. If it's doing that, we'll just even continue to strengthen the setup that I see within this. But it's looking as if this is poised to move higher. And with Bitcoin and Litecoin, they'll both go up at the same times, most likely. And when we take a look at this on the cross against Bitcoin, as the Litecoin price came very much near 0.019, pulling back to under the 16 handle, or at, we'll say the 16 number. And this level of resistance in here, right where the green line is at, right at price action. You have your little bit of resistance in here, and then your higher low. Test it again with this low. Test it again. I don't know which low came first, but either way, it managed to do nothing for a little bit, staying well above and below where the short-term key high was. It retested the low, and now it's retesting the high. And even within such, it's done it for 2 periods, because we can see in this one in here that it even pulled back a little bit. So in viewing such even further, I can take a look at this on the 15-minute. Things look to be really picking up now as I'm doing this. It's 10:41 a.m. Eastern Time. But it does seem as if with the higher volatility coming in, having this multi-green move up to this high, 2 red candles down to the highs, and now progressing higher, already breaking above this resistance on the 3rd period. It seems poised for at least a test of that 19. And at that level, well, I'll just wait and see what happens, but I'm giving this the benefit of the doubt that it's probably got a larger up move left, and I'm thinking it's going to be going up to this previous high, at least near around the 25 handle. Let's now go over the request section, which will be that of Cardano. And I'd like to thank one of my subscribers for a very generous gift, and also the request for Cardano, so most certainly it's going to be coming within this video. We'll start off within the daily chart, which previously established this big level of resistance. You can call it an inverted head and shoulders pattern. I pretty much do. And the inverted head and shoulders pattern has the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and the break of the neckline. Therefore, it's done its job as what the pattern's supposed to do, and into a now what situation. As price action broke above, you're expecting a decent sized leg higher. Have you come back to a previous area? Yes, the level of the June support is where it's at now. So again, the now what question mark area, or it's live for doing a whole bunch of different things. Looking back at price action, the volatility, 9,000 before, down to 939. It's had significant price moves. So on the way back up, it's most certainly in store. If this is ready to go, you could be poised for a 2, 4, 5, 10, 20x move at any given time. Now, are we overextended? The answer is yes, a little, for sure. As we see within this move, after grinding the 18 average of highs up to the level of the neckline, that's where it had that big move out over the span of 3 days. Day 1, big green candle up. Day 2, big green candle up. And it was a big green candle up on March the 24th to its high, but then it pulled back near the highs, another decent move to previous level. It congested amongst that for a few days, which is always that little bonus. It's not the fact that you can come up to where you were and hold and stay in that area. That is the productive sign. Now, this is the interesting day. A lot of the markets shared this on April the 2nd. The fast move back lower. It's now since spiked higher. So we're seeing that failed breakdown, but it's had an okay gain from this. But since it's had this longer correctionary phase, since this high, it hasn't really done anything, have a great move. There hasn't been any. And that can oftentimes be sparked from situations like this. Now, with any of the coins that I like to trade, if I've got profit, I'm always going to be looking to sell, because I'm not trying to be amazing at predicting the short term, and most certainly, I don't want to just focus on plays like that and then uh, have that strategy on that format. I use the buy low, sell high. So in situations like this, when markets go up, then I'm always looking to get the sales, especially when you can have situations where if the market goes from 1745 to 1472, then maybe you can get a buyback, but that's hard for me because one, I'd have to sell near the high. Two, I'd have to pretty much buy at that level there because that's not the greatest of volatility. Again, when I see a move from 1750 to 1467, that's not the most fantastic. So this also tells me, even though it's overextended, it has not had just a spectacular volatility surge move within this. And on the weekly chart for Cardano, we can see that it's on stage number 2 en route to establishing a level of resistance. And it really hasn't even gone up too much at all. We look at the size of some of the previous green candles that it had, compare the ones that we are having now. It still has to exit out of the low volatility session. And that can happen on a dime or on a switch when it happens. Trying to figure it when, I don't try to. Within the weekly chart, holding and staying on any correctionary moves within this 18 where it came from becomes very, very important. But I never want to try to make a guess when a chart like this of what's more likely because I see this thing about to go super crazy. A big monstrous green candle up and definitely a correctionary move back down to the 18 lows is one of the next two things that I'm expecting within it. When we take a look at, let's take a look at some Fibonacci while we're at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this high. The high comes in at 9,180. And the low beforehand is 254. So within this Fibonacci, I'm going to take high divided by low, those two numbers, to the exponent of the key Fibonacci numbers multiply the low. And the key numbers are these four here, 38.2% or 0.382, as well as the other four. So current price action is in at 1770. So it's gotten above this 38.2 of 1,000. So I want to look at the 1,000 and the 23 numbers. So I'm going to put a horizontal ray in. And let's put this at the 1,000. And then the 2,300 and change. So that probably looks like that's where the next price objective is. The big one being 2332. And again, with these charts on TradingView, they don't give justice to the log scale. Even though I got it turned on, it's not even, it's closer to a linear than a log scale chart. Well, this 1,000 number most certainly came into play. And now it looks, and it does seem to me it's en route to this number of 23. Yeah, yeah, most certainly. Especially when this first Fibonacci level worked out to be this support, the congestion area in here as well. So let's explain this Fibonacci a little more. Because if you take a look at, I'm not going to do this, but if you take a look at this chart on a site like TradingView, or not TradingView, coinmarketcap.com, and I can do it, I can bring it up, then you'll see it looks a lot better. And this line on a log scale will look close up to here, and this one would be like much higher. And being the 61.8% level, this is what it needs to break, hold, stay above to really get this thing going. This line is what it needed to hold from point A low to point B high. And that's way low. Usually I'd be like, yep, somewhere around here. But that's where it should be. That is the price on a proper log scale. Okay. We'll just put this onto the short term, and then I want to take a look at this on CoinMarketCap. So 4-hour term time frame. We see, okay, well, this looks like it's running out of steam, starting to break down. And the previous times it did that was in here. You can see it was going down, and there's a breakdown. It was running low on steam in here. It was running low on steam in here. And it's tried so many times to revert this to even a decent size reversal, and all it could manage to do is have this spike where it just comes right back to where it came from. So at some point it is going to have to test some of these levels, have a significant period of lower highs and lower lows, and then of the more important test of where it comes from. But because of the fact that it had that clear break of the 1,000, Fibonacci numbers have worked pretty good. That I would expect that that's where it's on route to go towards, as it pierce above near 25, and have a better chance of finding resistance there. Of course, the market will always do what it does, and myself as a trader, even though I know something like this is to happen, I'm still going to want to have a little bit of selling in here involved, and this way if it comes back down here, I'll buy. My next sell point would probably be about, because I usually know it pierces extra, I would go about 23.97, and that if it pulls back, I would just put my next buy order in wherever after that, probably in the area where it would be now, especially if it can go sideways here for a while. But either way, that's all about the mathematical numbers, and if I'm trying to find key areas where it would stop going up, that to me I would think would most certainly be one of them. I own this coin, but it's one of my Cryptopia holdings, and what I'm probably going to do with it is mix it up with Raven coin. Those are my two coins that I got on there that are doing really, really well, and I'll put those two together and just trade one with the other. It's a matter of division. And by trading two coins, you increase your volatility, and you don't need Bitcoin as a holder to trade them. You just use Bitcoin to sell it, whatever you're selling. You need that to sell it to, and then you use a Bitcoin to buy the other coin. So that's what I'll be doing with it. Now let's take a look at this on Coin Market Cap. And what we're going to do is we got the chart here, but it's not on log scale. If we put it on here, we're going to see how this line at the bottom is going to be about 38.2% of the differential, at least the head and shoulders bottom, the first one, about a 38.2% difference from this low to this high up, and that the area of 23 would be somewhere around here. So let's push the log scale, and there we have it. So much, much different. We can see on this view, after it had its spectacular rally like all the other coins did in November, that it went right up pretty fast, and the leg lower, lower high, leg lower, and of course this is at its 61.8% down move. And yeah, I do think that it's very rare for the market to do what come down to key level here 1,000, have the Fibonacci up around 23, go this far and not get there. That is just rare as anything. And again, it doesn't mean it can't go down first and then break out above it at this point, because it's just a little overextended. But to me, that is all it is at that point. When you have point A low, point B high, point C correctionary high succeed a 61.8% down move, which means it holds and stays above that number, which was 1,000. And then it goes back up to this previous high. Ooh, I mean, I don't like that situation. I've said that many times, where you have the productive bull market, and in a spot there, I have no idea if it's just going to keep on going so high, because normally it'd be overextended, but it's at a spot where I've seen many times it just break it without little to no resistance. But for me, I would just sell there and then realize that, okay, if it goes up, if I'm ever at a spot where I get that, where I'm near the previous high and it's there, to me it's a great selling spot, because many times it is resistance. If it's going to go down, it's going to go down pretty far in price, which is good for buybacks. And even furthermore, if I sell at a point of this previous high, after it does a low and comes back to it, I realize if it's a bad sell spot, quote unquote, which on profit it never is for me, that the likelihood is going to have significant gains after that, that I can position myself for a good mathematical gain along with it. Because if this goes up to 7,400, I sell. I realize that this is going to go 12, 14, 16,000, and I can get some good profits later on after that. But for now, thank you for tuning into the video, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.